Why do mosquito bites itch? Not why do they hurt, not why do they swell. Why does one tiny puncture turn into a glowing red button that somehow becomes the most important location on your entire body? Picture this. You're outside for 10 minutes. Maybe you're watering something. Maybe you're sitting on a porch. Maybe you're standing near a patch of grass, making the terrible mistake of having exposed ankles. Nothing dramatic happens. You don't hear a warning siren. You don't see a miniature aircraft descending through the clouds. Then, 20 minutes later, your leg starts itching. At first, it's manageable. Just a faint little signal. Then your brain keeps checking it. Still itchy. You scratch it once. That helps for approximately the lifespan of a soap bubble. By bedtime, you're lying there negotiating with a bump smaller than a pea. And that's strange. Because the mosquito itself is long gone. The puncture is microscopic. It didn't leave a stinger behind. It didn't inject venom in the way a bee or wasp might. It took a tiny amount of blood and disappeared. So why does your skin continue behaving as though something has opened a small illegal fireworks factory underneath it? The usual explanation is simple. Mosquitoes inject saliva. Your body reacts to it. Histamine is released. The bite swells and itches. That explanation isn't wrong. It's just suspiciously tidy. Because mosquito saliva isn't one substance. It's not a single chemical labeled itch juice. And histamine isn't the entire story either. The real explanation begins before the mosquito reaches your skin.
Huh?
A mosquito looking for blood has a problem. Blood is extremely inconvenient. The moment a blood vessel is damaged, your body starts repairing it. The vessel tightens, platelets gather, clotting proteins begin assembling a plug. From your perspective, this is excellent. From the mosquito's perspective, the drinking straw is attempting to fill itself with concrete. So the mosquito arrives with chemistry. When it pierces the skin, it doesn't simply insert one neat needle. Its mouthparts are a bundle of specialized structures that probe through the tissue, searching for a blood vessel. While it does this, it releases saliva.
Ew.
That saliva contains molecules that interfere with several of your defenses. Some slow clotting, some reduce platelet activity. Some help keep blood vessels from constricting. Others alter inflammation and immune signaling around the feeding site. The mosquito isn't merely drinking blood. It's temporarily editing the rules of the area. For a few minutes, one microscopic patch of your skin is operating under mosquito law. And mosquito law is mostly concerned with lunch. But the saliva contains foreign proteins and other substances your immune system may recognize. And this is where the story reverses. The mosquito creates the puncture. But most of the red bump isn't made by the mosquito. You make it. Your immune system notices that unfamiliar material has entered the skin and begins responding.
I don't like you.
Immune cells
Don't like
release
you at
chemical
all.
signals. Nearby blood vessels become wider and leakier. Fluid moves into the tissue. More immune activity is recruited to the area. The result is redness, heat, and swelling. The bump isn't a tiny bag of mosquito saliva sitting under your skin. It's an inflammation project. Your body has discovered an intruder and immediately formed a committee. One important member of that committee is the mast cell. Mast cells live in tissues throughout the body, especially in places where the outside world is likely to get in. That includes the skin. They're packed with chemicals that can be released quickly when a threat is detected. One of those chemicals is histamine. If your immune system has encountered similar mosquito salivary proteins before, it may already have antibodies ready to recognize them. When those antibodies detect the proteins again, they can trigger mast cells to release histamine and other inflammatory substances. Histamine helps produce the swelling and redness. But it also affects sensory nerves. Some nerve endings in your skin detect itch-producing chemicals. Histamine activates them. Those nerves send signals into the spinal cord. The signals travel upward, and your brain interprets the activity as one clear instruction. Scratch that spot immediately.
Now.
This is one reason the itching may not begin the exact second the mosquito bites. The puncture happens first. The saliva enters, then the immune response develops. The itch is the alarm arriving after the burglar has already left the building. There's an even stranger detail. The first few times your immune system encounters a certain type of mosquito saliva, you may not react strongly at all. Your body often needs exposure before it becomes sensitized. It has to recognize the proteins, remember them, and prepare a faster response for the next encounter.
So repeated bites can make the reaction more noticeable. Your immune system learns. Unfortunately, what it learns is how to make your ankle unbearable. Researchers have observed this pattern in human reactions and animal studies. Early exposure can cause little response. Later exposure may produce delayed bumps. Then immediate swelling and itching can develop as the immune system becomes more prepared.
And so it begins.
But the story doesn't always continue in one direction. With enough repeated exposure, some people eventually react less. Their immune response may become partly tolerant. So the same basic substance can produce almost nothing in one person, a small bump in another, and a swollen patch the size of a drink coaster in someone else. That depends on immune history, age, allergy tendencies, mosquito species, and probably several details that haven't been completely untangled.
And this is where histamine stops being a satisfying final answer. Histamine clearly matters. Antihistamines can reduce swelling and itching in many people, but they don't always stop the itch completely. Some reactions continue for hours or appear later after the first wheal has faded. That suggests other systems are involved. Mosquito bite itch can also involve other inflammatory chemicals, immune cells, enzymes, and nerve pathways that don't depend entirely on histamine. The immediate reaction and the delayed reaction may overlap, but they aren't identical. The first raised wheal can appear within minutes. A firmer, itchy bump may develop later and remain for a day or more. So when a bite seems to calm down and then become annoying again, it may not be your imagination. The bite has released a sequel, and apparently the sequel has a longer runtime. But the strangest part may be what happens before any of this. Mosquito saliva doesn't contain only substances that help blood flow. Some of its components may also reduce certain pain, itch, or immune signals under specific conditions. That sounds backward. Why would the substance that eventually causes itching contain anything that quiets irritation? Because the mosquito needs time. A mosquito that triggers instant pain and furious scratching is a mosquito about to become a palm-shaped stain. So while it feeds, its saliva may help keep the area calm enough for it to finish. Then it leaves. Only afterward does your immune system fully respond. The mosquito may help delay the complaint until it's safely gone. It doesn't merely steal blood. It may temporarily tamper with the alarm system on the way out.
Scientists still don't know exactly how every ingredient in mosquito saliva interacts with every immune cell and sensory nerve. Different species produce different mixtures. Different people respond differently. And mouse studies don't always reproduce the full human experience. So it would be too simple to say one salivary protein causes the itch, or that histamine explains every stage. What we can say confidently is that the itch comes from a conversation between mosquito saliva, your immune system, and your nervous system. And then there's scratching. Scratching feels good because it creates stronger touch and mild pain signals that temporarily compete with the itch. For a moment, the nervous system pays attention to the scratch instead. But scratching can also irritate the skin, damage the surface, and increase inflammation. That can produce more signaling, which leads to more itching, which leads to more scratching. The relief is real. It's just financed at a terrible interest rate. Scratch hard enough and you can break the skin, allowing bacteria from your hands or fingernails to enter. At that point, the original mosquito bite may be the least interesting thing happening there. So, why does a mosquito bite itch?
Because a mosquito needs to keep your blood flowing while it feeds. It injects a complex mixture of saliva that interferes with clotting and other local defenses. Your immune system recognizes parts of that saliva as foreign and releases inflammatory chemicals, including histamine. Those chemicals activate sensory nerves. Your brain receives the signal as itch. And depending on your immune history, the mosquito species, and the timing of the reaction, other immune and nerve pathways may keep that signal going long after the mosquito has disappeared. The mosquito causes the intrusion. Your body builds the bump. Your nerves deliver the complaint. And your brain becomes personally involved.
This is not a
So
test.
the next time a bite keeps you awake, remember this. The mosquito didn't leave an itch inside you. It left a few molecules behind. Your body did the rest. If you've got a question that's bugging you like an inch you can't scratch, drop it in the comments. We may just scratch that itch for you. Until then, scratch an itch for us by hitting that subscribe button.